She paid the rent. She paid the car notes. She paid for daycare, diapers, groceries, and the Wi-Fi her brothers used to play video games all day long. She worked 16-hour nursing shifts. She hadn't slept more than 5 hours in years. And then one day, she told them the money was gone. She didn't lose it. She didn't spend it. She hid it. Because she needed to know one thing. Without the money, would any of them actually love her? What happened next over the next 6 months is something she will never forget. And neither will you. Welcome to Miss Tell-It-All. If you're new here and you love stories about people who finally stop pouring from an empty cup and choose themselves, you are in the right place. Hit subscribe because we tell these stories every week. All right, let's get into Elaine's story. Meet Elaine Lewis, 26 years old, travel nurse based in Atlanta, Georgia. On paper, thriving. In reality, exhausted beyond words. Elaine had been the financial backbone of her entire family since she was just 22 years old. Fresh out of college, she landed a high-paying nursing contract during the pandemic and never stopped. But here's what that money was actually funding. Her father, Ray, collected disability checks and spent his days watching sports. Her mother, Lori, stayed home managing the household, which mostly meant long phone calls and longer opinions about everyone else's business. Then there were the brothers, 22-year-old Michael and 20-year-old Tyler, both living at home, both cycling through minimum wage jobs like they were seasonal internships, and both perfectly comfortable letting their sister cover everything. And then there was Piper, 24 years old, 2 kids, 5-year-old Vanessa and 3-year-old Corey, and a baby father who had been gone for so long his name barely came up anymore. Elaine paid the daycare, Elaine bought the diapers, Elaine kept those children clothed and fed. Every month, Elaine's paycheck vanished before she could even register it. A 5-bedroom house in Stone Mountain, utilities, car notes, insurance, family emergencies that came like clockwork. One rainy Friday night, after a brutal 16-hour shift, Elaine sat in her car in the driveway and didn't go inside. She just sat there, in the dark, and whispered to herself, "I can't do this anymore." Not the work. She could handle the work. What she couldn't handle was the growing, gnawing question she was afraid to answer. Do these people love me, or do they love what I provide? She decided to find out. The very next night, Elaine gathered the whole family in the living room. Mom, Dad, Michael, Tyler, Piper, and even little Vanessa and Corey playing on the floor, too young to understand what was about to happen. Elaine stood in front of all of them, her face calm, and say, "I have bad news. I got scammed. A fake investment app took everything. My savings, my emergency fund, my retirement contributions. It's all gone. We're broke." The room erupted. Her father slammed his hand on the armrest. "How you let that happen, Elaine? You're supposed to be the smart one." Her mother clutched her chest. "Jesus, what are we gonna do? The lights are due next week." Michael shook his head slowly. "I knew you were moving too fast with all that money." Tyler actually said, "So that means no more new Jordans?" And Piper's eyes went sharp with anger. "What about my kids? You know I can't pay for daycare alone. You playing right now?" Not one of them asked if she was okay. Not one. From that moment, the mask came completely off. Her mother stopped cooking for her and started making little comments. The queen has fallen, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Her father barely acknowledged her existence, except to complain that the Wi-Fi was slower now. Michael and Tyler refused to lift a finger around the house, telling her, "You the one who messed up the money, so you fix it." And Piper started limiting Elaine's time with Vanessa and Corey. Said she didn't want her kids around broke energy. 2 months into the test, a cousin got married. A big family wedding. Elaine found out about it The way you find out you've been excluded. Through someone else. When she confronted her mother, Lori said, "Maybe sit this one out, Elaine. Folks gonna be asking questions, and I don't want the embarrassment." The embarrassment. Elaine, who had housed and fed this entire family for 4 years, was now the embarrassment. She said nothing. She went to her room, she cried. And then she kept working her nursing contracts quietly, stacking every dollar and watching the clock. I need to stop here for a second, because some of you watching this are not just entertained right now. Some of you are triggered in the most personal way. Because you know this family. You might be Elaine. If this is hitting home, drop a heart in the comments. No explanation needed, just so we know you're here. Keep watching, because what Elaine does at that family meeting, nobody was ready. 6 months to the day. A warm July evening in Atlanta. Elaine called one final family meeting. Everyone filed into the living room expecting more bad news, more bills, more problems to dump on the woman they'd already decided was a burden. Elaine sat down. She placed 6 months of untouched bank statements on the coffee table. She looked at every single face in that room. And she said, "I lied. There was no scam. The money was never gone. I made it all up. I needed to see how you would treat me when I had nothing to offer." The room exploded. Her father jumped up. "You played us like that? After everything we'd done for you?" Her mother burst into tears. "Elaine, how could you do your own family like this?" Piper's voice broke. "So you sat back and watched my kids suffer for 6 months?" Elaine looked at each of them, steady, clear-eyed, and said, "I worked day and night since I was barely grown, so all of you could eat, live in this big house, and have whatever you needed. The moment I pretended to have nothing, you toned on me. You insulted me. You kept my niece and nephew away from me. You left me out of family events like I was trash. That is how much I mean to you when the money stops." Her mother reached for her hand. "Baby, we're sorry. We was stressed. We're family." "No," Elaine said quietly. "Family doesn't treat you like a walking ATM and throw you away when the card declines." Her father tried bargaining, said he'd get a job, said Piper would get on her feet, said they could work it out. Elaine stood up, walked to the front door, opened it wide. "This house is in my name. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. I'll help Piper with 1 month of daycare for the kids, but after that, you're all on your own." She stepped to the side. "You can close the door behind you when you leave." As her family sat in stunned silence, Elaine walked upstairs, locked her bedroom door, and for the first time in years, she breathed freely. No guilt, no resentment, just peace. Some people will say Elaine went too far, that you don't test family, that there are better ways. Maybe. But here's what I know. Elaine didn't lose a family that night. She lost the illusion of one. And she finally chose herself. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you've ever been the one carrying everyone while being taken for granted, your story matters. Tell me about it in the comments. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and take care of yourselves out there, especially the ones who've been taking care of everybody else.